Hello and welcome to Talking Live. I'm Dr. Robi Ludwig out of Starshop Studio in Times Square, and we have a very special guest. But before we start, we want to thank our sponsors at Immunicology. They are fabulous with their green clay. I use this product all the time. It's amazing. And we're going to have a website so that everybody can find this product, and we can give you a free gift basket if you share the show. So we're going to be looking at who shares the show, and then they are going to get a free gift basket. So check out Immunicology, their green clay. You're going to love it, I promise you. Today's show, we have an internationally known speaker, Lucinda Cross. She's also a best-selling author. She is a TV personality, and she is the president and founder of Activate Worldwide, and she has this amazing product, which we are going to learn all about. I mean, how cute is this? It's called Activate. And you've discussed this on the Today Show.
Yes.
Because I saw you with Tamron Hall. I love that segment. I watched it again. She is. And this is how you can get from one place to another. We all have goals that we want to achieve, and you are the major achiever. And before we get into what you do, and I think you know this, that I'm a huge fan of yours.
I'm a huge fan of yours.
And Lucinda is just the type of person who is wise. And when you listen, I think when people listen to you, they really get inspired.
Yes.
Because you remind us of how to be our best self.
Yes.
And I also think you are a big supporter of women, which is huge. But let's go back a little bit, Lucinda, because really you had a tough road at one point, and you're really honest about it, owning your story.
Yes.
You were in college, something happened, and then you said you exchanged college for prison, and the rest is kind of history. Take me back there.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for having me on the show. This is amazing. You're amazing. We've been trying to do this like forever.
We have, and we were like automatic huge fans
of each.
But really,
instant connection. Instant connection. It's the energy.
Yep, it's the energy.
So, just making bad decisions, as a young teen, and being naive, looking to speed up success on my own terms, and said yes to an opportunity to grab a suitcase, pick it up, drop the suitcase off at another location, and not realizing that one decision was connected to a larger case that was already under investigation. So when they seen this young 18-year-old, and at this time, I'm going to school to become an entertainment lawyer, not realizing that I would need a lawyer in a few months myself. And so several trips back and forth, just accepting the money, and the FBI comes knocking on my door in the Bronx, where I was living at the time, with my mother and my youngest. I have 3 younger brothers, and they said that I'm a part of this case that's been under investigation for 3 years, and they're taking me in. And my case was from Chicago, and I'm here in New York. So that was the beginning of an ending for a beginning.
Did that take away your dream to become an entertainment attorney?
It did. It did take away, because at this point I was just looking at how can I, just get myself together. And what should I pursue? So after serving that time, the judge in Chicago, it's heavy crime in Chicago, and they could care less about your age. And so he wanted to give me, as a first-time nonviolent offender, 10 years. And by the grace of God, I was just sentenced to 4.5 and did 5 years on probation.
But the impact that has on one's self-esteem, and I've mentioned you to people who I know who have been in prison for white-collar crimes, who have a very hard time shaking their low self-esteem.
Yes.
And I say, look at Lucinda, look at everything. She uses that as part of her branding to show the possibilities. And I know you also work with at-risk youth. And you really managed to kind of get yourself out of that dark place, in part by what you teach today.
Yes.
By visualization.
Yes.
And how did you do that? How did you kind of figure, wow, I'm not going to let this interfere with my dreams to become somebody important and to self-actualize into the person I can be?
Great question. So, you know, the women in my family, I come from highly educated women, mainly the women. I mean, we love the men, uncles, everybody. We love you, daddy, I love you. But the women in my family, highly educated. And that's one thing that my mother has always taught me. You never have to look at where you are, focus on where you're going. She was a psychology major. Creative visualization was something that she absolutely loved and adored. She had a master's in psychology, so I was her guinea pig. Part of that was creating a vision outside of what you can actually see. And so every morning, how do you feel? What are the colors? What do you think about yourself? You know, those were questions that she would always ask when I was younger. They happened to surface when I was inside of prison. There was a lack of programs for women, lack of support. There was training for parenting classes. I wasn't a parent. There was horticulture classes. I'm from the concrete jungle, New York. So I'm like, what am I going to plant? You know, so none of the classes were in empowerment focused. And self-esteem, you know, helping to build self-esteem. So I had to go back to some of the teaching that I thought my mother was crazy about, and it worked. And I had women on the compound creating vision boards and vision journals on what are your goals when you leave here, to show how can we turn this tragedy into something that could be a game changer.
And I think it's so powerful when one can own their story.
Yes.
And it becomes easier the older you get. And I certainly even work with patients in my practice who aren't dealing with prison, but just things they feel insecure about.
That's still a prison too.
Right?
Right?
It
Those
is a prison.
insecurities.
You're so right, is that we can all be imprisoned by our insecurity or what we feel humiliated by. And once we own that story and give voice to it and see how it fits into the bigger scheme of things, it's a real gift. And I do think focusing on who you can become is one way to do it. Now, you work with empowering women, empowering millennials. I see you traveling all around the country and all around the world and always looking fashionable. But you're just a fashion girl. You're a fashion girl. I'm like,
you are. Look what you have.
Darn, I like that necklace. I know we're getting off track. What do you think women most want from you now?
They love how the consistency, staying consistent. So I constantly hear, Lucinda, don't change. I love who you were on the Today Show. I love that Lucinda we seen with Dr. Oz. In essence, please don't change. And they're just looking for permission to continue to share and come out with their stories.
Now, talk about the Essence magazine. That was something you visualized, as well as being on the Today Show. And I remember you also telling me a story about meeting your husband and visualizing him and the kind of man that you wanted. So you are a great role model on multiple levels, because you are a very satisfied wife. You're very respectful of your husband. And I think that's just tremendously gratifying, probably for many of the women who are looking to you also as a role model.
Absolutely. And role model, that's tough. But I get it. I get what you're saying.
But
I embrace it.
You are, because you are really, you understand that every aspect of your life is important. And so, you know, to have the work piece without the other piece, regardless of what that looks like, creates an imbalance.
Yes, very true, very true. And even within the creation process, putting my husband, I said, you know, I'm so tired of dating these jokers, right? I'm ready for my hero. But I had to go back to the drawing board and say, well, what does that hero look like? And not creating a silly list of, well, he has to have this amount of money or this tall. Or I was looking at characteristics and traits, and a lot of it stemmed from what my father had. And, you know, lo and behold, he's this, just like who my dad was. You know, my dad is the very caring, funny, a friend, and I watched that. And then I said, what is it that I don't want, based on looking at my parents and their marriage and relationship? What don't I want to infuse in that? And so I didn't want to be like how my mother's hard on them, and you know. So, but everything that happened from essence, putting it on the board, being crystal clear about what you desire and going after it. It was non-negotiable. I said, I'm going to be in this magazine, on the magazine or in the magazine. And I was blessed to have a nice full spread on it.
Yes, it was a beautiful spread. Now, you also say, you know, putting down some of your visions and not working towards it.
Yes.
Is really not enough.
Right.
Right? It's not like you can just cut out a picture and say, oh, this looks pretty, because there's a difference between a wish and a goal.
Absolutely.
I mean, I do advise people to explore their fantasy life, including their daydreams, to gain access or front row seat to their possibilities.
I love that.
Because when you think about it, that's when your defenses are down. Right?
Yes.
And when you give yourself permission to explore and be creative.
I love that.
But then you really need the goals to kind of work. You have to be willing to do the work. Yes. I mean, unless you feel differently. I will defer to you.
You do, because there's a lot of people who have beautiful collages.
Yeah.
This is what I desire to do, but how many of those things are you really going to go after? I say, focus on one thing and then go after another thing. And when you have that big goal, that you're going to go after, you'll realize that you've accomplished like 10 goals on the way to that one.
This is a true story. When I was in high school, and I wasn't necessarily, things didn't click for me until I went to therapy and I realized this is who I want to be, and then everything kind of fell into place for me. That's a little plug for therapy, but that's a true story. And when I was in high school, I wrote a list of some of the things that I wanted. And fast forward, like I wanted to have a book, I wanted to have my own show, I wanted to be on TV. There were certain things that I wanted, and by some of my, grades, probably I had no reason to say any of those things other than, I don't know, high school dropout.
You didn't have good grades?
I did not try hard at all.
Okay, wow.
At all. I didn't care.
So you're just skating through.
I was socializing through. I had great parties, Lucinda. You would have loved my parties. My parties were great. But when it came to a test, I was at the mall, people. I had to get dressed for something. I don't know. But things didn't click till later. But it's interesting. It was kind of an actualization list. And fast forward years later, my mother found it, and if I did not reach every single thing on that list, and I'd forgotten about it, but it was in sync with who I was. So I think that's a key. It has to be in sync with your talent. And one of the things that you talk about is you talk about embracing your gifts.
Yes.
And your natural ability towards your purpose.
Yes.
How do you help women find that?
So one, helping them to realize that things that they desire, also those things desire you. I once read, we don't get to choose, we don't choose our dreams choose us.
That's really true.
And that is a privilege.
That is really true.
And so when you switch that to say, hey, it's okay to drop the guilt. Most of the women that I talk to, they are so guilty, especially when you become a mom. Oh, well, I shouldn't want these things. I'm a mom. I should want them.
Being a mother is just having guilt. It's like you give birth to twins. You give birth to your baby, and then the guilt is right there. Isn't it true? They come together.
They come together.
I know.
Yes, that's so true. So having these women drop the guilt of always providing for others and giving to themselves, opening up the desires and the more, getting them into a space of, you're allowed to have more in life, whatever that looks like, more relaxation, more rest, more time to talk, more silence. You deserve more. So.
And I really think the happy parent has the ability to be the good parent.
Yes.
And so the happy parent may look different for everyone. It might look like not working for some people, or it might look like having a major career for others. But I really do believe that, you know. And so you give women permission, basically, to want and be okay with that.
Absolutely. And it's unlocking them. Yeah. Going back to the incarceration, that's where I discovered my purpose, because when I came home and I went back to school and I started repairing my relationship with my family and trust, it was all about looking at women who were like incarcerating themselves with their fears and doubts. And I said, if I can just unlock that.
See, it was meant to be.
It was meant to be.
It was beshert, as we say, kind of fate.
Yes, it was.
For you to give your gifts.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
And you say things too that are so wise, like, don't be so fixated on where your blessings come from. Like they can come from anywhere.
Man, you're good. You are on it.
I'm your fan, baby.
You are on it.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And you talk about just kind of activate, and I wrote down I activate people to be bossy, strategic, intentional by giving them permission to take risks and break rules and to speak their truth and to stand in their power.
She's good. She's good.
Right?
But that's so true, because here's the truth. I was a huge procrastinator, the president of the procrastination committee. And so the opposite of that was activating. And that's how I got into this business.
Do we have these? Do you send them to prisons?
I would love to. So I'm looking for a way to send them to prisons.
So
and
maybe
even
if anyone's out there, if there is anyone that believes in Lucinda's mission, which is to help at-risk youth and perhaps to go into the prison system so that we can rehabilitate many people who are there just because of hard knocks and they have so much potential, that this could be really a way for them to find their better self. And it really behooves society, because there are many people in prison that are mentally ill or just do not have the support system, and we don't want to ignore them or house them, because we as a society miss out.
Come on, that's
right.
We have to give them a vision.
Yes.
They need to see something beyond the four walls, the brick, the chains, and the cuffs.
That's right.
And if it starts with just helping them to write down their desires.
And also to just invite you.
And invite me to be there to help them.
And you are having a conference in October. Tell me a little bit more about this conference.
Oh gosh, so October 11th, I'm having a conference called, Creating a We Nation. So I love what you said. And it's October 11th. That's actually the day that I got arrested when I was young. In 1996. This is a long time ago. But the conference is to help this community, at-risk youth, women who are re-entering society, as a way to help reduce recidivism. Women is the highest rate of coming in and out of the system, and so part of the conference is to give resources. The other part is to find a solution and really provide for those needs. And then we're also, this is falling under my nonprofit, so it's going towards a training center that I'm looking to create that provides these soft skills and life skills for these women. So.
Well, best of luck, and if there's anything we can do to help you, please let us know, because Lucinda really has a lot to offer, and just they're lucky to have you on their side to help them get to the other side also as well. You talk about being in a place of expecting increase. And miracles. What do you do for yourself in that regard?
Oh gosh, I'm always in expectation, meaning that I say, like recently, I'm in a wonderful group chat with some women, and I said, Lucinda, the producer. And they said, what? And I said, I'm just sourcing it out there right now.
Put it out there.
I'm conjuring it up right now. And they're like, what? I said, yes, standing in expectancy.
How about maybe a play about your life story?
I want to do that so bad.
All right, we're putting it out there.
I want to.
We're right in the heart of Broadway.
I want to do that.
What about a musical? I'll sing.
A docuseries.
No, I wouldn't do that to you. I wouldn't do that to you.
But even a docuseries. I think it's important for them to see.
What about Oprah? Oprah?
Come on. I'm here.
One of the things we do in our show is a quick five. So will you play along with me?
Yes.
Quick five.
Yes.
What's something I would never guess about you?
Oh gosh, this is quick. A quick five that you'll never guess about me. That I love taking naps.
Oh, okay. I would never guess that about you.
People think I'm a workaholic.
Do you have any superstitions?
Don't leave your purse on the floor.
Oh, yeah. I do that a lot. Maybe that explains a lot. Who would you most like to sit next to on a 10-hour flight, and why?
Denzel Washington.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty good. I don't blame you on that
because
one.
he's handsome and he's wise.
Yeah. That's a good one. I like the way you're thinking. What are the three things in nature that you find most beautiful?
Water. You said the three?
Yeah.
Water, eagles. I love eagles. I love the ocean, and I actually love soft sand.
Okay. A beach person.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, good questions to ask people when you really want to get to know them more. What's a question you would ask them?
When I really want to get them to know them. What is your biggest dream?
I love it. I love it. Well, one of my dreams is to have you here, and we are just so thrilled you made it on Talking Live. We will have a website so everybody can find out information on how to reach you and how to have you speak at their functions. And also, this activation kit is at Walmart, but everything will be on Lucinda's website. And we want to thank again Immunicology for being our sponsor for today's show. Thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.